I bet you also had this experience where you wanted to do one thing, but somehow you ended up with doing completely different thing. Like you planned to go to this gym, you go there for a week, maybe even for a month. But then there is this very quiet voice appearing in your head saying that, well, maybe today we can skip. Today is the leg day and I don't like it. Nothing really crazy will happen. And then the next day you want to skip again and again. And in a month you end up abandoning the gym for good. Or you manage to split up with your narcissistic partner and it is awesome. You now finally feel free. But at the same time, there is this lingering pain inside you and the small voice telling you that, oh my God, I miss him so much. Maybe it was our mistake after all. Maybe he was right. Maybe it's not an abuse. I just misinterpreted something. And somehow this voice talks you in, right into him once again. So if you face something like this in your life, well, you are not alone. Because the root of this process, this is happening right now, is called fragmentation. And I already did shorts about fragmentation some time ago. But I thought it is a very good thing to make a full-length video about the topic of fragmentation purely because it influences our life on a daily basis. And this is not something that we really hear a lot in spirituality or psychology. We hear about different types of personalities, we hear about the different sides of the same personality, but what actually these sides are completely different fragments of your psyche that actually created under very difficult circumstances. If you have 10 more minutes, we can actually discuss this topic of fragmentation, and I hope you will realize that fragmentation is not a scary thing, and actually the fragment of your psyche are nothing more than just lost kids who need love, understanding and compassion. So let's spend some time together and actually understand this topic thoroughly so that it could help us to alleviate some pain in our life and make it a little bit safer and more joyful. Hello here, my name is Sophie from CoAwakened, and here we learn how to heal after abuse and reconnect with our emotions in order to feel life again. So we know about this concept of fragmentation through, again, having different parts of our personality. Like we can be happy, joyful, talkative, initiative. So we know about positive attributes of our personality, but actually there are negative parts as well that we don't really want to get acquainted with, purely because we think that these parts will turn us into somebody very destructive and very negative. But as we learned from some of the previous videos, it's just simply not true. And that is totally understandable, totally okay, because we were conditioned into believing that negativity is inherently bad, that experiencing negative emotions, strong emotions, experiencing something that you can see in the horror movies will actually turn you into some kind of serial killer. So the root cause of any fragmentation is trauma. And as we know, trauma is distress without resolve. But in one of my previous videos, I even went deeper and actually claimed that the precursor to every trauma is the state of cognitive dissonance. So even before trauma occurs, we're actually entering the space of cognitive dissonance, and this space in itself is not bad. Remember how we discussed that? Cognitive dissonance is just the state where your inner reality and your outer reality don't match, and they don't match to the degree where it's just painful for you to exist like that. And so your psyche makes this move so that you could function in society and do something. It actually fragments itself. Instead of finding some healthy resolution for this state of cognitive dissonance, like you know that your parents are supposed to love you, but your father is beating you up. So this is a classic example of cognitive dissonance. So your inner reality of your father loving you and your outer reality of your father beating you are not matching. And so instead of creating a healthy resolution for that, you actually split your psyche, you hide the emotional pain, your inner truth, you hide it in your subconscious mind because you believe that it's false. Your reality, your inner reality is false. And you make the reality of the outer world dominant. It means that you believe that, for example, your father beating you up is right. And so out of that trauma, you create the coping belief systems that actually make it logical for you so that you could exist in society. Like, my father is beating me up purely because I'm not worthy of love. This is the trauma in a nutshell. And so you already realized that because of the cognitive dissonance, we split. One part is hidden in our subconscious mind. Other part is conscious and aware and functioning in society. And so we have plenty of those fragments stuck inside us because we all had some kind of trauma in our childhood. So nothing to be ashamed of, really. If right now you're acting extremely anxiously and irrationally, there is nothing to be ashamed of, because there are a lot of parts of your psyche who are in agony right now, and they just want to be seen and understood, and this pain wants to be resolved. So that's why even writing to your ex-narcissistic partner at 2 a.m. after having a bottle of wine is totally understandable and totally okay. And instead of blaming yourself for, first of all, drinking, and second of all, writing to your narcissistic ex, maybe for the first time we can try and use compassion and understanding. Previously, I already did a video how we can experience our negative emotions without being distracted by them. And then we went further and used this practice to extract information from this emotion. Then we actually discussed the topic of subconscious mind, how I gave you this analogy that subconscious mind is just the crew of the backstage of your mind. It means that if you were to imagine your mind, your psyche as a theater, you have a conscious mind, which is a stage where the main play occurs, but at the same time, the play is the result of everything that is happening at the backstage, and the backstage is where the real thing occurs. This is subconscious mind, and actually this subconscious mind forms this play of your conscious life. And this backstage consists of different crew members that coordinate everything so that this play would be even possible to exist. All of those videos, you can already see one logic, one thing, that we are an ecosystem and we should change our perspective a little bit on ourselves and perceive ourselves not as one person going under one name, but rather a combination of different personalities that occurred for different reasons that, yes, go under one name. One thing how we can bring peace and safety to our system is to learn this system well enough. It means that you should analyze in your conscious mind, but you should also delve into understanding and feeling your backstage, the crew members of your backstage, of your subconscious mind. And so for that, if you have any working practice that really helped you to get to know your subconscious mind better, you can always write it in the comments below so that the other people could also learn that. But here I will mention the practice that I use heavily during my recovery and healing process that helped me to learn about my subconscious mind more, and this is the completion process by Teal Swan. The parts of your psyche are basically the splits of the very distressing emotional state. It means that the part of you that split, they actually are children, because oftentimes this trauma occurs when we are children. So these are children that are stuck in agony and pain, and our task is to retrieve them. How? We use our emotions as the doorways. We use triggers as the doorways to the painful memories. Then we re-enter the state of cognitive dissonance consciously. We go in there and we re-experience this cognitive dissonance. And by re-entering this cognitive dissonance consciously, we find this split piece of our psyche. We talk to it. We create a resolution for it. It means that we find a healthy way out of cognitive dissonance, and therefore we retrieve this shattered part of our psyche and its pain. And then we have a choice of either helping this fragment of ours join our whole conscious system, or leave it as it is, but still be able to talk to it so that it wouldn't be subconscious, but still it was conscious. So when you work with fragments, don't expect that you will be able to join them all into this nice one whole system. No, actually there will be fragments that will be separate. But still, it's not bad inherently. It's just like having friends. You will be able to talk to them anyways. They will be just as a separate entity that have their separate things and needs that you will need to address. But still, because they are friends and you love them, you will be willingly taking care of them anyways. Even if the part of you is in agony. For example, if you wrote this message at 2 a.m. to this narcissist, And instead of blaming yourself, try to understand why. Why am I missing this narcissist? I feel pain. Why am I feeling pain? Exactly. So you go to this practice, you go deeper and deeper until you realize that this person actually helped me to feel complete and safe in a way, because he somehow created this illusion, this bubble reality where I felt more safe, and I was given the promise that I won't have to interact with the pains of the real world anymore. And so you believe that. And so you blame yourself for believing that, because you know that this narcissist won't be able to keep his words. It's just an illusion. So, and instead of blaming yourself for that, you go even deeper. You go into this memory where maybe you, for the first time in your life, you felt this deception and you believed in this promise, and then you were betrayed. And for example, you remember this day where your father promised you to take to the Disneyland, but then he somehow canceled the plans because he had some kind of a job thing going on. And so you felt deeply betrayed, because for you it was important to go to this Disneyland. And in this moment, the split occurred where this young version of yourself was so desperate for going somewhere, but it didn't have it. So it's stuck in this painful memory of being betrayed by the closest person that you have. You go into this memory, you actually emotionally take care of this child. So you allow yourself to re-experience all of the feelings of deep betrayal that this child is experiencing and is basically stuck in this hell. And you give him this helping hand. You treat him with compassion, with understanding, with love. You create a resolution for this problem. Maybe you, in your imagination, we have no limits. That's why you can imagine going to Disneyland with this child. And this child actually realizes that there is another way out. Then you ask these children to join your system or just walk away out of this memory for good. And then once again, you ask the child whether he wants to be separate or join your system altogether. This is, in a nutshell, how I did work with my painful memories and reconciled my old wounds and traumas. And I hope this approach, again, completion process by Teal Swan, will help you as well. But if you have any more practices, I will be more than happy if you share them here in the comment sections, because it's not only for me, but other people as well. So the only thing that I really want you to learn from this video and to actually feel from this video is that realizing that you are fragmented is not bad. It doesn't make you unsafe. What makes you unsafe is actually not knowing what's going on at the back of your mind. And the more you know, the less you are afraid or terrified. Your unsafety is created by the agony that your inner children are living through right now at the backstage of your mind. And the most compassionate and loving thing that we can do is to actually save these children. We should go inside our memories, find these missing pieces, these split pieces of our psyche, help them to deal with this cognitive dissonance consciously. Once again, create a healthy resolution for it, retrieve those children and give them what they needed the most this whole time: love, understanding, and compassion. And isn't it the very thing that we are all longing for? So if today you learned something new that made you feel a little bit safer, that's actually awesome. I will be waiting for you on Thursdays and Sundays here on my channel in order to discuss more things related to emotional safety and how to heal after abuse. And for now, don't forget, you are not your own enemy. It's just the parts of your psyche are stuck in hell. And isn't it the greatest thing to be able to actually treat those children of yours with love, care, and compassion, something that they longed for their whole life, and that will help you to finally feel emotionally safer and a little bit more joyous today.